So half time in the tie. How do you see it? You know, they've had the weekend off. Pope has got 10 successive clean sheets, and there'll be 50,000 mad Geordies there. Is it mission impossible or mission improbable, do you think?
Well, I won't be letting you do my team talk after that. It's every game you play against Premier League sides difficult. Newcastle in wonderful form, clean sheets, good defensive record, one of the best keepers, as in my opinion, in the Premier League. So it's not mission impossible by a long chalk. It's a game of football. Anything can happen. What we have to do is be the best versions of ourselves. That's what we know we have to do. We have to have a game plan, we have to be good, and we have to execute it. Newcastle are in good form, but they're not going to go the rest of their lives without getting beaten. So why not get beaten tomorrow night? And that's what we have to attempt to do. Now we'll go there in good spirits. We'll go there. We felt we played well in the first leg. In terms of if we'd had a bit more belief first half and got things a bit more aggressive, then it could have been something different, and we had probably a real good chance to take the lead. So there's a lot of positives to come out of it, but it's definitely not mission impossible and not even improbable. I think it's a really acutely poised cup tie, and that's how we're treating it.
And you were able to rest most of the team who played the first game at the weekend, and obviously James Ward-Prowse has had a weekend off behind him. How key could that be, do you think?
Well, we've had to use the squad because, as you rightly said, Newcastle have had the weekend off. They would have been, if we'd gone 90 with all those, they'd have been a lot fresher. And considering they're as athletic and as big a side there is in the Premier League, we need to be able to compete with that. And to be able to do that, one, we've got to use the squad, and two, we've got to be as athletic as we possibly can.
This is going to be unusual. It's going to be Southampton playing on deadline day night. Can you completely focus on the game? Oh, we have Rasmus Ankersen maybe on the phone to you while you're on the touchline.
Well, that won't be happening. But look, we have other people. My role in recruitment is done, and that's why it's a real good structure here. My role in terms of identification and affirmation and everything else of signings is all done. So it's whether we can get the deals done for the players that we want, and that's the thing. So I'll have total focus from tomorrow morning. Obviously today there'll be a bit of both in the phones, but from tomorrow it'll be entirely me focused on trying to get Southampton to Wembley.
Saints fans are obviously wondering about deadline day. I mean, how key is it going to be? And on Sulemana from Rennes, can you say anything on that potential deal?
Look, we can't say anything on any names or anything. It'd be wrong to do that because there's nothing definitive in any one of our deals. What we are is working tirelessly, constantly, on all levels to try and improve the squad. But I urge people to say, look, we want to get one in. We've worked so hard to get one in. But one, there'll be certain constraints here in terms of stuff, and also we have to improve significantly because I don't want a knee-jerk. I don't want a knee-jerk and get just anyone in just to hopefully give us and then put the future of the club in jeopardy in terms of that. I wouldn't want to do that. What we have to do, we have players here that are capable of scoring goals. We have to work with those and improve that ratio, and then if we can give them help in terms of that, then brilliant.
Just finally from me, on players going out, maybe Che Adams is being linked with Everton. Would you personally sanction a move like that the next day or two?
No, let's be honest, that's not going to happen.
Adam. Nathan, morning. How do you win the psychological battle with your players' minds going out? Because actually, while everyone thinks Newcastle neutrals think they got all the advantage, they haven't got to score, but you have. Does that sort of, definitive sort of knowing what you've got to do help a little bit? Maybe you can put pressure on them.
Look, with the greatest respect, it's an advantage, but it can be a tricky advantage in terms of. So I don't want to give Eddie any team talks and stuff, but we'll use a bit of psychology, but also we have to do things right, and we have to make sure that we start positively and we're the best. If we go up there and wilt, then yeah, it'll be an easier game for them. But that won't happen. We'll be aggressive. We want to be. We want to go after the tie, and we'd really like to get the first goal. And if we can get the first goal, then a lot of things can change, and a lot of things will change. So look, that's our focus. Our focus is in being positive and being the best we can be, and then everything else and outside opinions, noise, whatever it is, we can't affect that. But It's a wonderful game. Let's not forget, it's an absolutely wonderful game. It's a semi-final. There'll be a full house. It's a great place to play football. St James's Park. It's a semi-final. We're a Premier League team. Where else would you want to be?
Did you have any, or do you have any selection headaches, or did you sort of know your team before the Blackpool game?
No, what we've got to a point is that in the week, it's probably only Lianco had to do 290 minutes. So that's what we've got to. Sekumar is the next one who would think. So we're in a position where we're not having really to look after people because they've done 290 minutes. They've had to do this, they've had to do that. They're on the periphery. They haven't been able to train. We've got to a point where we've got a full team. We've got a full squad to select from, and that is what we had to do with juggling the team. Now I've got a full quarter to pick from because everyone's capable of doing a Saturday and a Tuesday in terms of things. Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday. That's another thing. But now we're in a place where no one's really had to do that apart from Lianco.
Is Prowsey going to be all right coping with not playing a game for the first time in about 17 years? Was he happy to miss out on Saturday?
Well, he's never happy to miss out, but he broke all high speed records the other day in terms of stuff. So it's a sensible thing to do. Is it a gamble when you change your side and you go into a cup tie against a championship side? Yeah, it is. But we feel we need to use the squad and feel we've got a squad that we're capable of handling that, and we were right.
Just finally from me, it was nice to see Theo back, and I know he's probably maybe past his prime, as it were, but he was effective for you before the break, in the Liverpool game and so on. Could he be important with his experience and his actual experience of playing as a proper winger, a wide man or a forward tomorrow night?
He'll be really important for us. One, his athleticism, two, his experience, but three, his quality as well. And he has, and he was effective going into picking up a small injury. But he understands things when we do stuff. He picks them up so quickly because, let's be honest, he's been probably world class, in his career. So that's a big bonus. So he'll be vital to us. And that's what we're saying. In the building, we have potency. It's just one, improving it, giving it a structure that it can be effective, and then if we can give it some help, then fine.
Thank you.
Ian. Hi Nathan. You do know what you have to do in terms of score, win the game. Some Newcastle fans, I got the impression after last Tuesday, were celebrating at St Mary's that they'd already reached Wembley. For them, do you think that's a difficult position to be in, having that thought in your mind that you're already there, and then maybe you coming up there and taking it away from them?
Well, I think there's a lot of psychology in these things. I don't think they'll take it lightly because of the manager and of what they have. But what we have to do is put doubt in their mind, into first and foremost, and we can't give them anything to rest on. Again, they've got a goal. We could have defended that better, and we're really disappointed at giving them the lead, but let's see how that affects them psychologically. I don't know if it is going to, but all I'm saying is we've got to be the best version of ourselves, and we can't go there and be open and be really sort of easy to beat in terms of that. We have to make sure that one, we're in the tide, two, we get the first goal, and then three, can we turn the tide?
How much will luck play a part? Because I was at the game with Villa where VAR wasn't your friend. Your VAR wasn't your friend in the first tie either. How much do you need a little bit of luck as well?
You do, but you make your own luck. If you're positive and you are on the front foot, then luck comes to you. I think the harder you work and the better you play, sometimes the luckier you are. So that's what we have to do. We have to continue, with the performance levels that we're showing. Certain things will turn, certain things will change, and so on. Look, they're the goal disallowed as well, albeit two rightly ones. They're marginal calls, but right ones. So it's not just us having bad luck. I think everything will even itself out. And tomorrow, I would love to be really lucky tomorrow night and win the game. But I would love to be excellent and win the game as well. So one way or another, as long as we win the game, I don't care.
How much will tomorrow have a bearing, be it good or bad, on your battle to stay in the Premier League? If you win the confidence and suddenly everyone's shoulders are back and we're going to Wembley and we're almost unbeatable, whereas if we lose, maybe you've got to really pick them up.
Well, I don't think we'll think whatever happens that we're unbeatable in terms of that, and I don't think we'll have to really pick them up and stuff. Look, we know where we're going. We know we're making strides. We believe in the process. Every day we're chipping away at that process, and that's the thing. This is a lovely, lovely distraction, but it's not a distraction in a bad way, so we can forget about anything. It's another opportunity for us to take a step in the right direction. That's what I said on Saturday. Regardless of the last sort of 15 minutes, for example, we never really had any problems during the game, and then only ones of our own making. We controlled the game to a certain extent. Could have showed a little bit more quality, but there was a lot of things for that. So this is just another step in the right direction for us, and going up against a top side, and a side that hasn't lost in a while, hasn't conceded much. They did actually concede against us, albeit it was ruled out. We created one or two wonderful chances where we needed to be more clinical, and then we go in there in good spirits. And it's not nothing to lose, because it's everything to lose, a semi-final, but we go in there, the tie's open, the tie's still alive, and that's the main thing. And what we have to do is make sure that we go up there and be the best versions of ourselves. And if that happens, then look, at 11 o'clock, it might be a wonderful night.
Last one from me, your semi-finals of the League Cup, last 16 of the FA Cup. Wonderful cup team this season. You mentioned the word psychology 2 or 3 times already. Psychologically, do you have to get your players now to think that every game, starting with Brentford Saturday, then Wolves the following Saturday, is a cup tie?
Well, they are effectively, because you don't want to lose, but we don't prepare any differently for cup games and stuff. Obviously, there's been 1 or 2 which have been lower league opposition or league below us, which makes it slightly easier. But in terms of when we come up against Premier League sides, we've been excellent in terms of Palace, in terms of Man City, and also the first leg against Newcastle. There's a categorical difference in performance from the Newcastle game to the second Newcastle game. Now we want that meteoric jump again, and if we can do that, and the performance level is significantly improved, then anything can happen. But we know that the Premier League is our bread and butter. That's what it has to be, massive priority. But at the minute, whenever games comes up, we're trying to win it. So if that's cup game, if that's under 23 game, if that's a Premier League game, we're trying to win every game, and that's what the club mentality has to be. Thank you.
Okay, move on to the section for 10:30. Start with you, Mark.
Thanks, Jordan. Hi, Nathan. What does preparation look like for this game? Does it change at all because of the magnitude of the tie? What do you do differently tonight or tomorrow morning when you've got that time in Newcastle?
No, look, it does change slightly, because you have the first game to go look back on. So it's a two-leg thing. It's like a two-legged semi-final. Well, it is a two-legged semi-final, but it's when you have the first leg to compare, can you learn from the mistakes or can we be better than we were in the first leg in certain instances? Can we be better and be a bit more potent? Can we continue to do the good things we did in big spells of the game on last Tuesday, and bringing everything together? So you kind of debriefing and prepping in the same manner. So it does because it's the return leg. So unless Newcastle do something categorically different, it'll be a similar type of game, and who can be the best on the night, because they were excellent. They did. I felt we could have played a hell of a lot better. I think we stepped it up second half. We were really in the ascendancy. If we'd scored that goal, it might have been a different result. But look, that's gone now. So now we have to make sure that we prep. So there is a slight difference, because it's not just a league game where the last time we saw Brentford was 8 months ago or whatever. It's we played them a week ago. It's the return leg. What will they do? Will they be any different? Will they be more poor? All those things. So it's really interesting. It's like a real good chess match, really.
I know the night before the Everton game in the hotel, there are a few kind of initiation songs as well for some of the new guys. I'm not going to ask about if you did one. I know some of your coaches did as well. But creating that atmosphere, that positive vibe and things like that, especially on an away game when you all travel up together, how important is that right before a massive game for the club?
It is, and because sometimes it just takes. You can't think about the game all the time. 24/7. Sometimes it's difficult not to. But you have to have a little bit of respite. You have to have a little bit of diverse things, and I did do an initiation song. It hasn't been done here before, so I wanted to change a little bit of that. But look, that's we're trying to create an atmosphere there. We're trying to build a spirit that can be conducive not just for now and for the semi-final or for Brentford or Wolves, but for a long time to come.
I'm sure the players don't need any extra motivation in terms of how big this game is, but does the Newcastle players' reaction and Jacob Murphy's little wave to Duyassaleta Sarr as he got sent off last week, does that add a little bit of bite to the fixture?
Well, I think it does. I think it might, and so on. It's every individual is I've been in games where there's been a bit of a niggle and a little bit of leftovers that sometimes come back to bite you, and let's hope that does. But it doesn't give me any motivation. Things happen on the pitch, and you think I had words with a member of their staff and stuff, but that's part and parcel of a game, part and parcel of a thing. My motivation is to win a game and try and get Southampton for Wembley. To be honest, I'll do anything it takes to do that within reason. But yeah, so if it does, it does. If it doesn't, then I don't know. But you'll have to ask one or two of the others of that.
I just want to ask about James Bree. How's he settled in this week, and has it been nice for you personally to reconnect with him after a couple of months where you haven't been with him?
Well, look, he's done fantastically well for me. I saw something in him years ago which made us sign him permanently, and then we worked with him, so he understands what we do. I always felt he had Premier League potential because of, well, we had him from the Premier League. Let's not forget, he's a Villa at the time. Played a load of games as a 16, 17-year-old, in the Championship, League One, some of the Prem and stuff, and he did fantastically well. He did really well for me, and he's grown, he's matured, he's a great athlete, quick, really athletic, technically wonderful. He'll rival Prowsey in terms of technique, which is the biggest compliment I can ever pay him in terms of stuff. So I'm excited to see what he can do, but I'm totally confident what he can do as well, because it's not like, with the greatest respect, I've gone and signed 6, 7 players from Luton. I've brought back one who I felt right now can really give us a boost, and in time I'm sure he will, and I'm sure the fans will see that. And it's been good to see him because he's a great lad, he's fitted in well. But this is a good group that you'd have to be some plonker not to fit into this group. Like,
I know you said before that right back wasn't necessarily the area that was kind of most pressing to address in this month. Also, you've got Kyle that can play there, Tino's coming back from injury, Ainsley can play there, Lewis Payne signed a new contract as well. You seem quite well stacked in that area. Does that speak to the long-term ambitions? What's going to kind of end up there if you've got so many players in one position? Does that kind of stunt the progress for someone like Lewis, who signs a new contract, but on the ssame day another right back joins the club?
But Lewis Payne has to overhaul a few people before he gets, so there's a little bit of a way for Lewis to go, and we really like him. He's done fantastically well in terms of when he played against Cambridge, did well in that game. So got no problem with Lewis. But what is, we're looking at immediate and long term. Now we have people like Tino and Kyle who are very sought after. Kyle can play in different positions as well, but I brought Bree in as just a right back. Bree's a really forward-thinking right wing-back, but also play right-side centre-half and develop play really well from there. So we've brought him in because we haven't really got that versatility in positions. If I'm honest, Prowsey's quite versatile in terms of what he does. But when you look throughout the squad, Kyle is versatile in what he does. But we've played Lianco as a right-back, we've played Sally as a right-back. So we need that versatility so that preparing for games, in games, we can be fluid in build-up, fluid in aggression, fluid in everything. So it's a real logical one, and it's a good signing. It's a real good signing, to be fair, because he's, for me, he was last year, and I know he didn't quite get in the team, but he was the best right back in the division last year. This year, he's just got better. So it was a logical one. Plus I know him, plus I know his character, I know his athleticism, I know what he'll give me, he understands my structure, what I demand from people. So it effectively was a no-brainer.
Just finally from me as well, do you have an update on Juan Larios? How bad is that injury? Because we've obviously not seen anything of him for a couple of months now.
Yeah, look, initially it was bad injuries, come back. We can't, I keep stressing it, and look, at times it could be to my own detriment because we want as many good players back as we can, but we can't push a young player. When a young player comes into the Premier League, and there's a few of them have had sort of hamstring injuries because of the athleticism and the adrenaline and everything it takes to play a Premier League game. So then when they come in from, with the greatest respect, the level they've come in from, even though they've been at a fantastic club and come in from development football, it's a big ask to go Premier League. So we've had to really be careful with him, and I won't, even to my own detriment, I won't put anyone's career at risk, because I've seen that done before in terms of things. We won't do that. We won't do that with Tino. We won't do that with Juan. We had to push Bella the other day, but it was a ligament injury, not anything that can really damage and things. So the welfare is so important, but Juan's really, really close, and that's the good thing. So we'll see him sooner rather than later, providing he has no more setbacks. Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Thanks,
Nathan, I've got to ask the burning question, which is, what was your initiation song?
No, look, we keep that. I tried to do a medley so that everyone can join in, but something that you can. The key to initiation song is to sing something that everyone knows, so that you do minimal work yourself.
Too long.
Yeah, exactly. You start it off and leave it, and then go from there.
You sort of spoke about it a bit earlier, that there's a lot of excitement around Newcastle, and they maybe think they are one step away from there. There's going to be a big atmosphere there. How much do you relish the chance to get the opportunity to go and silence that place? Because it will be loud.
What a wonderful time. And look, there's a lot of excitement around Newcastle, and rightly so, because new owners, new managers, a few new players, they're on a fantastic run. So it's a lot to be positive about there. They're halfway, as we are, to Wembley. Obviously, they've got a slight advantage. So yeah, it's justifiable, the excitement. But it's a wonderful cup tie. It's a semi-final. This is what football's made of. This is why you come into sport. This is why you come into management. This is why you come in and to want to test yourself at the best level. And if you fail, you fail. But if you succeed, the rewards are massive. And that's what we have to do. We have to be tactically right. We have to be aggressive. We have to be physically right. Mentally, we'll prepare the players for a real vociferous atmosphere. But these are the games you want to play, and these are the games you want to manage. These are the games you don't want to will. You want to stand up. You want to be counted. And I'm excited rather than worried about it. And that's the best thing about these games.
The chances that were created in the first leg, it was unfortunate on the disallowed goal, in that there's nothing you can do to stop it hitting his hand, but the law's the law. The Shay Adams chance is a huge one. What can you as a coach and your staff do to maybe take the pressure off a striker who's struggling with his finishing in those moments?
It's not so much he's struggling, because his all-round play is magnificent. If you saw the movement for the goal, it was wonderful. It was top-end movement. And then he just got to make decisions and not fear, not worry, and keep putting himself in those positions, keep doing it, because he'll come, because he's a good finisher. Technically, he's a real good player. He's a real good link man. His movement's excellent. He's great to have around the place. So he's a joy, really. And yeah, if he'd scored that, then brilliant. He'd be in a better place. But that's all it is. It just takes one to go in, and then I'm sure he'll go and run. But he's been really good for me. Yeah, he's missed a couple of big chances, but to be fair, he always led the line. He scored in goals. He scored goals. He's and the way he is around the place, he's key to us, and we're really, really delighted we got him. People missed. Joe Linton missed a big chance, but he came back and got another one. We needed to defend that better. So people just got to put themselves in big positions, and he does, and he doesn't shy away from anything. And I trust him, and I know he'll come good.
The player that created that chance, Carlos Alcaraz, looked really impressive in the first game. How's he been, and what can he bring to this side across the second half of this?
Well, I think you've shown what he can bring. He has quality, he has energy. He's, with the greatest respect, the South Americans, they have a bit about them, in terms of aggression, in terms of a nastiness, in terms of a desire to do really well. Technically, they're usually very good. That's not me being pigeonhole anyone or being stereotypical. That's me saying we like that. And I think he'll bring a real quality to our midfield, real competition to our midfield, because we have got different people in midfield. We've got Stuart Armstrong to come back. Joe Rebo's different. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is very versatile. I forgot to mention him with the versatility one. And then we've got Prowsey, who's getting goals. Carlos, who will get in the box. Ibra, who's giving us that security, and then Romeo, who literally could turn into a world-class player. So we've got real competition in there and real balance and things. So look, he adds to a real good engine room. It's just we need now just to keep giving them work, keep developing them, keep putting them in a shape and a structure that they can get the best out of, and then go from there.
Did the level of his performance on Tuesday surprise you at all, given it's a long trip over, he had a lot to deal with the move?
I think the speed of it, in terms of how quick it happened, then yeah, maybe we probably didn't expect him to have such an effect on the game, but the level of it, no, because we've seen it for his team, we've seen it in training, so we're delighted that he's hit the ground running a little bit.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, Nathan, can I just ask you about Ibrahima Diallo? I wanted to ask you before. He's gone from being dragged off at half-time by two managers before Christmas to being transformed in the last few games. What have you done with him to simplify his game, or to help him, or is it the players he's been playing alongside, or the systems? He's done brilliantly in the last few matches.
Yeah, look, we've given him certain roles to do and so on, which suit him and which add to his strength. Obviously, managers don't make changes at half time unless they need to. They don't do it from vendetta wise or anything like that. So there's nothing personal in terms of that. But sometimes we make it, and sometimes we make the odd error in terms of structure, in terms of team, and think that would have been better. And sometimes it's so marginal calls that we then have to make that change. But Ibra's been fantastic. His attitude's superb. You never know because he's not the most jovial at times, but. He's been wonderful for us in terms of that, and he gives us that security which allows us to play two midfield players that can go and get goals and get opportunities and get chances, because he gives us that security, and that's so important, really is. And Southampton have had a good track record with that with Oreo here in the past, and they're big shoes to fill. But that type of player is so important to a team. You have a look at Newcastle with Guimaraes, you have a look at Man United with Casemiro. You have a look at all these players, and N'Golo Kante, that role is such a big one, and Ibra's filling that for us at the minute.
Confident as well, which he wasn't before. I guess he's still only 23. He could still develop, can't he?
Absolutely. Well, I think, to be honest, there's not many that can't still develop here. It's a young squad, it's an inexperienced squad, and with time and work and confidence and development will become much better players, athletes, human beings, everything around it. So that's the work, really. And as you see, I think you can see a number. There's 5 or 6 that have really jumped. Really, the level of performance has stepped right on, and I'm really happy with that. And sometimes you just got to trust them. I think Lianco has beat them fantastically well, and he's got the odd crazy moment in him, but we like that, and we try and harness that and develop it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.